welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom with KJ.
And Mike.
Yeah, no Corey. No Corey this week. But this one was planned. That doesn't happen very often with him, that we know that he's not going to be here. It's usually last minute, I can't make it, yada yada.
I mean, if it's a Thursday and it's a night, he won't be here.
I mean, it is Thursday at night. He
right?
was just here last week.
There we go. Perfect example.
He was just here last week.
I know. He had a 3-run streak, and he's like,
He just taps out.
Yeah, too much.
And same thing if he's trying to be a good husband. If he can do it for 2 days, he's got to tap out after that.
I don't know. He's not my husband.
I mean, he's kind of mine.
Oh, trust me. I asked Janie. I was like, hey, Janie, does Corey have this? Can I get him this for Christmas? Does he have it? And she goes, gee, I don't know. You'd have to check with KJ. I was like, you fucking live at the house. Like, you know the things that are in the house. Yeah, I was like, yeah, does he have this specific thing? I don't know. You'd probably want to check with KJ.
For the last
KJ
few times, I've literally told her what to get him.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because she's just like, well, I think my gift to him should be that I don't spend any money on a gift. I was like, what?
I mean, I don't know.
If you don't want to spend money, like if your gift was, I'm not going to spend any money on myself for a month, Corey'd be like, fantastic, great gift. But to not spend money on him on a gift, he'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I like things that are shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does.
He does. But that goes into what we're going to be talking about this week. So Mike and I are going to be talking about toys.
Gifts for ourselves.
Gifts for ourselves, that too. And then also things that we got as kids, wondering if they're still prevalent today. And then also like potentially what your thoughts for getting your kiddos are.
So I have come to a realization that we are in the era of people that have like nostalgia gifts, like nostalgia toys, I should say.
Are you talking? Yeah, of course.
Like we've gotten to the point where we still want to play with toys, but now we have a fucking bank account.
Yeah, so it's funny. A year ago today, the newest God of War came out for the PS5.
Yep.
And I took 4 days off from work to play it. And I remember posting on Facebook saying, I've got 4 days off of work. I've got a 70-inch TV, and I just picked up the new God of War at midnight. I am a fucking child with access to adult funds.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I've never taken time off to play video games, but I fairly recently have played video games from the time I woke up to the time everyone else went to bed and still was past that. I think it was, I woke up at like 7, took a shower, went downstairs, played Starfield from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Like straight, like didn't take. Yeah. I took a few pee breaks, got some food here and there, but It was on pause. The TV was on the whole time.
Yeah, we're children.
Oh yeah,
we're just we got bigger, but our minds did not. Like, and I'm fine with that. I just took off days to play the new Spider-Man. Ran through that. The new Grand Theft Auto is going to be announced next month. Like, they're going to have the trailer for it, Grand Theft Auto 6.
I think it doesn't come out till 2025,
It's possible, but they're announcing the trailer.
Yeah,
they're going to reveal it. And
I heard about it.
The original one didn't, or not the original, Grand Theft Auto 5, 2013.
Yeah.
10 years ago. That's a very long time. That was back PS3 days. And now we skipped 1.5 generations, and now we're in the PS5, Xbox Series X
from my understanding, it's supposed to be like Unreal Engine compatible. And
yeah, I'm hoping just for, like, I loved Grand Theft Auto 5 when it came out. I played the shit out of it. Great story, switching between characters.
I've seen a lot of like posts online of people taking Grand Theft Auto 5 and then cycling it through the Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
Like as if like this could be what Grand Theft Auto 6 looks like. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, if they're able to do that, especially with the power of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, it's like, especially when I was just playing Spider-Man, the fact that you can literally fast travel to any point on the map, instantly.
So far, there hasn't been a game out that has overclocked either system that I can think of.
No, but I think that this game will get up there. The new Grand Theft Auto, they did it in the last one. Like, they really pressed hard on PlayStation 3.
So the other thing about Grand Theft Auto that has, because it's kind of open world, you have a lot of different like programs running at the same time.
Yep.
Like you have weather, you have all these different things that you can interact with.
The NPCs are crazy, man. Like
right.
it's one of the reasons that I feel like the theory that we're in a simulation, when you play games like that and you see this shit that these people do or say, and they're in their own little worlds that have nothing to do with you until you bump into them, similar to our everyday life. If you just drive down the road, people are having their own lives and they won't interact with you unless you interact with them.
Yeah, like, I think was it Neil Tyson deGrasse said there were a 50% chance we're in a simulation.
Although he's less on that now because he thinks that either we'd have to be so far advanced. He had that interview where he talked about it, where he said he's never heard a argument against it that made him think that we weren't, and so he was kind of like 50-50 on it. And
most people agree that if you're going to do a simulation, you do it of the golden age of your era, and theoretically, this would be like technically we're at the quote unquote safest that the human race has been. Like the age that people die at is extremely stretched out.
Yep.
Like overall crime worldwide is much, much lower than it was 200 years ago.
Sure.
Like we're theoretically at our golden age.
Before it all goes to shit again?
Well, again, like we don't know what happens at the end of the simulation. We could got to the golden age before everybody nukes everyone.
Yeah, that's fair.
Post-apocalyptic, and everyone that is like left in the simulation, quote unquote, they're living underground in a nuclear holocaust above, and they're like, I don't want to live this life. I'm going to live in this simulation.
And so then they create a simulation, and now they're just living through us.
Right.
Those poor bastards.
We could be the NPCs.
We definitely are the NPCs. We're not fucking main characters.
The top 1% are for sure the people, the actual people. That's why they're like, global warming and stuff, and they really don't really care because they're just like trying to find ways to make money.
Too funny. But yeah, I think when that original game, again, I keep saying original, but Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, I remember taking like 2 days off from work, going to a buddy's house, having another buddy show up. Everybody brought food and like beer, and we just literally sat there gaming. It was one of the first time I did couch gaming in forever because everything's basically gone online, and we were passing the controller around because we all wanted to play the game and just shoot the shit while we did it. And I don't think you're going to see that. Like, again, I feel like everybody's just going to get the game themselves and play.
Wasn't Vice City 2-player, though?
Nope.
Or not Vice City, San Andreas?
Nope.
I feel like one of them was.
None of the Grand Theft Autos have been 2-player. I've always had to, like, pass the controller around.
Huh.
Yeah. I remember Grand Theft Auto 3 was obviously the first big open world Grand Theft Auto game. And I remember us passing, like, literally go to a friend's house after school and just take turns, like, until you die, or who could get the most stars on you before dying, and how much time you could have, or who could collect the most money, or just running through the actual game itself.
So your toy of your lifetime is just video games.
I would say so. Like, it has to be because it's still going on today, and it's the thing that hooked me early on, back at the Super Nintendo level with Mario, Super Punch-Out, all those games that were
Did you have video games from, like, when you were, like, as far as you can remember? What'd you do before then?
Yeah, I don't think I have memories before that of, like...
Like Matchbox cars?
I did Matchbox. Like, I did all these things with gaming, too. It's just I also played video games.
Man, I didn't have video games till I was, like, 9.
Nah, I think mine was 6 or 7. I got the Nintendo, I think it was.
N64?
And then eventually... No, never had the N64. Got the Nintendo, then got the
I never had the
Super Nintendo.
I never had the NES, any of them.
Did you have the SNES? 64. The Super Nintendo? No. You didn't have that either?
Nope.
Okay.
My grandparents had the one with the Duck Hunt.
Yeah, it was the
NES.
That was
just
Nintendo.
A regular NES.
Yep.
Yeah, they had that one, so I played it over there. But my first game system was N64.
N64, yeah.
I wanted it so bad. It was $99.99 brand new.
Dude, fucking, they're now like $500-$600.
Nuts, and I got the special edition with the purple clear controller and 007.
Oh, GoldenEye. Oh,
yeah.
GoldenEye was great. But yeah, so you have all these toys from back then that I feel like video games is kind of the only one that's like held itself constant throughout. It's had its moments of being like super big and then it's dropped a little bit, but it hasn't dropped significantly. Unlike other things like Legos. Legos were huge when we were kids, and then they almost
still have Legos.
They almost went bankrupt. Like they were that close, which no one can see because we're talking, but that close to going bankrupt. And then the Lego movie came out. And the Lego movie shot them to the fucking moon again. Yeah. Because it just brought Legos to the forefront. People started going to their parks again. They started doing all these team up with all these movies and shit. That's why, like, you got the Jurassic Park one, you got the Marvel ones, you got the Star Wars, you got everything.
Yeah.
And now they're
I feel like Lego has to do like a collaboration like that in order to like be relevant.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could like just go buy regular Legos.
Yeah, they do have like the city ones, which they're still cool. Technic is still cool. They do the new thing with all the cars. They do a very good job of finding like niche markets on different things and going with that. Like you have your older people, like I think even older than us, that'd be like, okay, well, I want to build model cars, but I don't want to do the glue model cars, right. So I can get all these I can get these cars that are Legos. Yep. They're much easier to build. And then you have Technic, which is again like people that want to have cars that are more technical.
Right.
And then Star Wars people like me and Corey, I have a bunch of Star Wars Legos on my shelf.
They just announced, there was a Star Wars one too, but they just announced the Marvel Avengers Tower.
So they have the Quinjet, and that one's wicked cool. I don't have that one. But I haven't got any of the Marvel stuff, but there are some really good, cool ones for Marvel.
Yeah, they just announced it's $500 fucking
for the tower.
For the tower, and it comes with a bunch of characters.
I think the Quinjet is still like $150.
Ugh. See, that's my thing. Like, I spend money on some stupid shit. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've got the wrestling belts and all that shit. But for Legos, like, it just doesn't do it for me.
I almost pulled the trigger this week on the Star Destroyer. Not the Super Star Destroyer, but the regular Star Destroyer. Why? The collector edition one.
Why didn't you? Let's ask question.
It was $650.
That's a good reason.
And it was a bid for $650, and then it went to $750, and that's when I said I couldn't do that.
But $650 you were okay with?
I was about to pull the trigger at $650. $650 for that is actually a pretty good deal. God. I could buy it as that and make money off it if I ever decided to.
Speaking of that, so did you see the box downstairs, the giant-ass box on my table?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. I'm not observant.
That's fair.
It could have been a bear.
So there is a giant-ass box on my table because WWE had a price glitch on their website. So I bought something for $800. Well, it cost $850. I bought it for $150.
What is it?
It is a giant-ass case.
Wrestling mat?
No, a giant-ass... Do you know Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yeah.
So
isn't he dead?
He is dead. But it is his... like a giant case that looks like his sunglasses, and then inside of that case, and the case itself is worth like $300, and then inside of that case is his title belt that they made custom for him. So I ended up buying. Is it a
replica or his?
It's not actually his; it's a replica.
Right.
But yeah, it goes for $850.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what this thing is worth. I mean, if it's his actual title belt,
no, it's not his.
And he got it for $150. The deals are good.
I could resell this for $600 easy.
Do it?
I don't know. I was thinking there's a friend of mine who really likes Macho Man, and I was thinking about Christmas is right around the corner. I bought it for $150, which is a fucking stupid steal. Because yeah, if you go on their websites, retails are $859, I think.
Yeah.
And when I bought it, because I don't know if you've ever seen glitches on Amazon, but you could look at trying to like buy something that retails at like $100 and you can buy it for like $5. Sometimes when you do that, won't actually... No. You won't actually get it. They'll cancel the order because it was a mistake. I was expecting that to happen until I got the email saying your package is out for delivery. And I was like, okay,
Sweet.
Guess it didn't happen.
No, I've seen ones online that like you can buy like a sweatshirt and it's like 19 cents or something.
And shipping is
but
like
the shipping
$40.
is like $12 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what tries to make you hook you.
Oh, yeah.
You see that price up there, and they just hope you don't pay
eBay does the same thing, though. Like, you have, like, buy it now, it's, like, $50 for, like, a Lego set, but shipping is, like, $39.99
To be fair, shipping things that are heavy fucking is so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when Nick and I have had to ship stuff for the Amazon thing, and we've sent out monitors, we've sent out juicers, and all this other thing, the shipping is fucking crazy. Like, that's one of the reasons I liked using Amazon Ship, because you get a discount through USPS or UPS or FedEx, but if you don't go through them and you go do it yourself, it's like an extra $30 to ship. We were sending out a shit ton of golf clubs, and on one of them, we lost money just because of the shipping.
Shit.
Yeah, because we couldn't ship it through Amazon because of some reason, so we had to do it ourselves, and we lost money because of the shipping.
I made money on golf clubs.
We were making a good profit on them too. But
I bought a set of golf clubs on the side of the road at a yard.
What is with
sale.
you and I guess you bought this one, but you got like the smoker on the side of a road.
Well, this is a yard sale.
Well, that's what I said. That's why I stopped talking, and then I continued to talk, because that's what I do.
I find deals, man.
I guess.
I'm on the road
Free
a lot.
is a really good deal.
I know where all the yard sales are during the day, for sure. I like going to the yard sales. I always get all kinds of good deals. I bought a shit ton of Magic cards one time, and I bought all of them for like $1.25 or something like that, and they were just worth so much money. Like, an unreasonable amount. I think I sold them all for like $800.
Jesus. I
got golf clubs from the yard sale. I think I paid $15 for the golf clubs. Sold those for $75. I bought Ollie a four-wheeling helmet that I still have, but I only paid like $5 for that. So
there you go.
Yeah, I'm a yard sailor.
I guess.
I bought like old toys and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the place. That's where you get your.
That Gary V tells me.
Yeah. So again, another thing cool about toys is the toys that were cool when we were young are like collectible expensive now.
But they're okay, so the only reason that they are is because our generation is old enough.
Yeah, we want them back.
Yes, damn it.
I had those.
My
as
mom
kids.
threw it away.
Yeah.
And goddamn her, I need it back.
I want that Tamagotchi. Those things are like $800.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's get into some of the toys. I want to see which ones you've had or didn't have.
Okay.
So Tamagotchi.
Had one.
You did? Me too.
I had a couple of them.
I had one, and then I had like I don't remember what it was called. But it was very similar. Yeah, I remember the poop. I remember it dying and how upset I got the first time.
Oh.
And then after the first one, I didn't really care. Like, I do it.
You got to reset it.
Yeah.
You got a little reset button.
Yeah, on the back. Yep.
My sister had a Tamagotchi, and she had it like all growed up.
Yeah.
And I reset it.
You're a good person.
She was so pissed.
Beanie Babies.
Yeah, I still have a couple.
Do you?
Yeah, so I have a octopus.
Yep.
Beanie Baby. He's actually on one of the speakers in my living room.
Oh, I've probably seen it. Didn't even realize it was a Beanie Baby.
Yeah, the big. I got the big one, the big Beanie Babies. But I have a little ones too at my parents' house, I think.
So my mom got obsessed with them and thought they were going to be
worth so much money.
To be fair, some of them are worth an okay amount, but they're not worth thousands upon thousands that she thought they would be. And she thought it was going to be like a quick turnaround. And some of them did get really big to start with, because they only released
two that are expensive.
50.
Princess Diana one.
Yep. Which my mom had one of those.
Yeah.
But she also bought they had these protective plastic cases for them too.
Yeah. You get the ones that are on the thing too.
Oh yeah, because you don't want to ruin the tag.
Yeah, the tag is where it's gonna stay pristine.
What about a Furby?
My mom has one.
Still,
yeah.
Oh, a Furby?
Yeah.
All right.
She got it as like a joke gift, and it's been on her like nightstand ever since.
Okay.
I don't have one. They mortify me.
But they don't look cute.
No, they're not. They like what is it? Gremlins?
Yes.
So it's like fucking
just a little furrier.
Yeah. It's a gizmo.
Yep.
It's a gizmo.
Yeah.
So had a bad experience with the Furby. I was
Where did it touch you, Mike?
No, I was in my mom's room for something. I had to I don't know. I had to do like a laundry or something. I had to grab her laundry, break downstairs, something fucking like that, like something normal. And like the Furby started like fucking like blinking and looking at me and like talking and stuff. And I like, what the fuck? And I looked underneath it and it was off. So I don't know if that's like a glitch in the Furby,
or you were a kid.
I don't know, man. I didn't like it.
It's probably ghosts.
I don't think my mom's house is haunted.
If it helps, no place is haunted.
I mean, I don't 100% believe that, but there's a fairly good chance my parents' house is haunted.
Pogs? Do you remember Pogs?
I have had Pogs, but yeah, you get the Pogs and the Slammers.
The Slammer.
Yeah, yep. I had the Slam Pad too.
Yep. Yeah. I also had a Pog maker. So you could make your own Pogs.
Like paper mache Pogs?
Yeah, like so you take anything. You could take like a baseball card and put it in the little thing and it would make a Pog out of it. It would smush it with the other thing and then you make
Is there
a Pog.
Glue?
I think it's automatic, like with the thing. Like I think
we gotta put something in it though.
No, I think the bottom piece of the Pog like had the glue on top.
You know what I did have that was cool for making stuff?
No.
Creepy crawlers. It was a machine. It's like the Easy Bake Oven for boys.
Oh,
and it had like these little metal pans.
Yep.
And you got like this like rubber cement.
Yep.
And you poured it in and made your own bugs with like different colors.
Yeah.
And you stick it in the creepy crawler machine. And there's a light bulb and it like cooks the stuff. You put it in there for like 10 minutes. You pull it out and let it cool off. Then you pull them out and it makes like little rubberized bugs.
Yeah, I remember
there was like body parts.
Did your sister do the Easy Bake Oven?
She was not an Easy Bake Oven. She does not like to cook, even Easy Bake Oven.
Even as a kid?
No.
My sister had one.
She had a Light Bright.
Nothing ever tasted good. They were terrible. Light Bright was another huge one back when we were kids.
I had a 2XL.
The fuck's that?
It's a robot that you took a cassette tape and you put it in it. And
God, that sounds familiar.
2XL, man. There was also one.
That name just sounds weird to me, though. Like you're gonna name it 2 extra large.
That was his name, 2XL.
I know that's just a weird name.
There was also.
Remember Teddy Ruxpin?
Teddy Ruxpin.
Whatever.
Yeah, so that was the precursor to it.
Yeah,
so
okay.
The Teddy Ruxpin was the same thing. You had a tape, and based on what you pressed for buttons, would change the story. So 2XL, there was ones where you could do like learning and stuff. So one of them was like, press 1 for like who invented basketball, and he tells you a little story about it. And like you click a button, and if you were right, he would go on about the story, and like it was really cool. One of them was Batman Adventure. You get to choose the way.
You realize this is all just now digital that people just do on their phones and do like on their iPads and shit.
Yeah. This was on a cassette tape.
I know.
And I pressed a button, and it was
to be fair, you pressed a button, and
interactive.
probably what it did was fast forward or rewind to a certain spot.
Well, it probably from there. Because their tapes are 2-sided.
Yeah.
So from there, like if you clicked a different button, it would change the way. Yeah. The way that it was reading from that specific spot on the tape.
Yeah.
I don't know how it worked, but it was fucking cool, and it blew my mind because I was like 6.
What about Bop It?
Yeah. I've used
Bop it, twist it, pull it. It sounds very sexual.
There's like Bop It keychains now.
Yeah, I know. Again, I feel like that's because it's our generation.
It's fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
They also had the Bop It Extreme, which looked like a spiral galaxy, or a steering wheel.
A steering wheel, I remember that one. Yeah, it's because they just kept trying to innovate it because they were trying to keep it relevant.
There was also Skip It. You remember Skip It?
Where it's on your leg, or on your ankle.
Yeah, and you run around, you gotta skip on it.
It counts.
Yeah,
like every time it would touch the ground, it would count up 1, 1, 1, 1.
Well, yeah. So it had like a rotary wheel.
Yeah,
and that would like turn as it like hit the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, and count.
Yeah, I had one of those, or my sister had one of those.
Skip It. Yeah, girls were much bigger with the Skip It.
Yeah, very, very big.
But I've tried it.
Oh yeah,
I don't think my big ass foot can fit inside that.
I think it'd be fine.
It's not adjustable.
No,
it's just a loop.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, those were fun.
I got a high score like 3 on those. I'm not a skipper.
3?
I'm not a skipper.
God, I don't know.
Can't do it.
I want to say we maxed it out one time, but I don't remember if it was 2 digits. We definitely maxed it out. If it was 3 digits, we did not max it out.
I did not. No.
Yeah, I can't remember.
A
what about trolls? Did you ever do anything with like troll dolls, or did your sister?
I had trolls. So cool story too. My sister flipped out on me. She loved trolls. She would collect trolls. She has a lot of them. And I took one of her trolls and I gave it a haircut, because I thought hair grows back, right? Like you cut the hair, it grows back. Oh, she was so pissed. She was like yelling at me, yelling at my mom to yell at me.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't know how old I was, but I was clearly not old enough to realize it. And I was like, I didn't get it. I was like, it's just hair. It'll grow back. Like, yeah. Like, what are you flipping out about?
To be fair, I'll say that if you were to go up to like your wife's hair and cut it off, it grows back, but you're still going to get yelled at.
I feel like if I cut my wife's hair, she would be okay with it because she wants to cut it and she thinks that I want it to grow out. So, as long as I didn't like shave it.
Go to your daughter's hair and cut her hair and watch her freak out.
Yeah, she won't even let me get near with a pair of scissors. Like, I can't even be walking by with the scissors. I think I traumatized her one time because I was going to cut her hair with the scissors, and it was a bad time.
One that I'm sure that we both were super soakers, squirt guns, all that
I
shit.
still have those.
Oh, I'm sure.
I get them every year.
They keep making them better.
So I can't find big, like, super soaker brand super soakers anymore. The only thing I can find is, like, because we use them out on the boat. We have those like ones that look like crayons.
Yep.
I get those. I got like a 2-pack from Sam's Club. I want to find like the big guns.
Dude,
and I can never find
like
them anymore.
Gatling gun one.
Yeah,
that looks awesome.
But you gotta like get them online. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I don't like. They used to have them in Walmart. They had like a whole section, like a summertime squirt gun section.
Because kids used to do more stuff outside.
Yeah.
So that was like a big seller for them. It's still a seller for them, but it's not as big as it used to be.
Squirt guns are just not cool.
No.
When you have, the new thing is those Orbeez.
Oh, yeah.
Orbeez guns.
Yep.
It's similar thing, except it's a paintball of water instead of...
Basically, yeah.
They still fucking hurt, too.
Of course. What about, do you remember koosh balls?
Yep, I had kooshes.
Just basically spun those around.
I had the koosh slingshot, which made me like the coolest kid in school because it had like I had 2 of them. One was green and one was orange, and it has like a
one was what?
Orange.
Orange.
Yeah, sure. So it has like it's plastic and it has like a little like neck on the front. Yeah. And then is a koosh ball with like a long rubber neck and a little circle, and you put the circle in like the little top part of the slingshot and you pull and it like stretched back like super super far, and dude, they would fly so far. You could hit people and they didn't feel good, especially at close range. They were so cool.
Yeah, close range, definitely.
And then on the bottom it had like a little loop where you could like hook all your extra koosh slingshots, so you could hook like 4 or 5 of them and then take them off.
These were basically the fidget, like things like that were basically fidget spinners.
Yeah, but way less safe.
Well, yeah.
Like, you get shot with one of those, you're going to know it. Same thing with, like... But, I mean, my mom's generation toys compared to ours are, like, so much less safe. Have you seen what lawn darts are?
Yeah.
Like, legit lawn darts.
They had lawn darts in the 90s, let's be clear.
But they were not the 80s.
No, the 90s
70s.
were still, like, had the fucking point. It wasn't until, like... The end of the 90s where they started going like doing away with them.
Decapitated children.
It wasn't decapitating them. It was impaling them.
Okay, right, okay.
But yeah, like people didn't give a fuck. Like, hey, we're gonna throw darts. If you're gonna stand underneath it, sucks to be you.
Yeah, it's like ages 3 and up, lawn darts. And they're just shaped like nuclear weapons. You hurl them 100 feet in the air.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't supposed to hurl them that high, but you could.
Yeah, you could fucking zing them.
We would.
They're heavy.
Yeah.
They are big.
Yeah. But your whole point was to get a target. Like, that's the whole point. Like, it's supposed to hit and stick in the ground.
Your target is the buddy that you're hurling them at. It's like have you ever done Roman Candle War?
No.
Oh, no. Boy. The first time you do that, it's like you are Harry Potter himself hurling bolts of magic at your buddies.
I'll just go after Voldemort. It's fine.
Yeah. Expecto Patronum!
All right. What about My Little Pony, Little Pet Shop, things like that? I think that was more girl-wise.
Yeah. My sister had My Little Pony stuff. She liked what's the one with the Rainbow Bright, I think?
Yep. Yep, a friend of mine actually wanted that as Halloween a couple years ago.
Yeah, and then My Little Ponies. I remember that there were Care Bears too.
Care Bears was huge.
She actually had Polly Pocket.
I have a friend that her her name is Carolyn. We call her Care Bears.
Yeah.
And Cabbage Patch dolls. My sister loved that shit. Yeah. She had tons of those.
I was big into Micro Machines.
Never heard of it.
They're like Matchbox cars, but super, super tiny.
Oh.
And I had all the military ones. I had like tanks and bombers and all kinds of stuff. They're Micro Machines. They're tiny little toys.
Was there a toy or an obsession as a kid that put you outside of everybody else's obsession? Like, was there something that you were into that nobody else was?
I mean, I was my only friend that had a billion Legos. I still have to
assume that other people had Legos.
Well, true, but like not even close to my amount. And I would build ridiculous things. Like I'd build like whole cities, battlegrounds, and I would just have them like all over my room because I was using all different things. And I made garages for my trucks, and I mean, I would build literally whole cities.
All right, and then if we switch to because it's not toys related, but we're talking about what we did as the 90s, so I have to think about it because I'm trying to remember if we talked about this during another podcast. Which I know I've talked to Corey about this, but when you were a kid, and we played outside a lot when we were kids, or at least I did. I assume you did too.
Yeah.
But like, was there a game that you played at nighttime with like a bunch of friends? Like Corey called his Manhunter.
Manhunt?
Or Manhunt, yeah. And then we called, God damn it, ours was just called Hunter. Did you play those games as a kid? Manhunt or Hunter?
I played Manhunt.
Where you two sets of teams, one team hides, one team tries to find. If you get caught, you have to go to a base and wait there until everybody else gets caught. But technically, somebody from your team can release you.
Yeah, that's just Manhunt.
I
played that in Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
like because we
in between the touching.
No, at the same time. That's the manhunt part. The men were hunting for you.
I get it.
We were actually hiding for our lives. The opposing team was the counselors.
Teachers versus kids.
Yeah. And nobody was coming for you if you got found.
Help! Come tag me up!
Yeah, fuck that!
Fuck you!
No. We went to I went to Camp Roosevelt, and we'd play Manhunt at like nighttime, but you had to be like back by a certain time. And like when I was a kid at my house, like we were pretty rural, I guess, in Belgrade, so we didn't really have like a lot of like close neighbors to play outside with.
So I lived in an apartment complex, but it wasn't like apartment complex up. It was apartment complex wide.
Right.
So it was basically like you had your own house because there was its own kitchen, living room, dining room.
Condos.
Kind of, yeah, but just like for affordable, like for people that didn't have money. And she's a single mom, 2 kids. But there was like
my row of single mom with 2 kids.
Yeah, I don't. What do you want from me?
House man.
So basically 6 apartments, then a gap, and then another 6, and then behind 6 gap 6. So there's 24 apartments, and I would say 15 of them had kids. So that's fucking all we did every Friday and every Saturday night for a decade. Was in the spring, summer, and fall. That's all we did, was just play Hunter. And there was always 10 of us minimum, and with teams of 5. And
like what? Starting at what age?
6.
Okay. I guess I don't really remember a lot of the stuff like when I was 6 as far as like outside stuff. Like in the summertime, I would just like ride bikes. I feel like that's the thing I did the most. But just riding bikes.
You don't usually do that at night because you couldn't see. Like Hunter, the whole point was the whole point was to make it hard to find you. So nighttime was even better.
Jeez, go look for fireflies.
Yeah, we did fireflies too.
Go down to the lake.
I mean, there was no lake near us.
Yeah, I would walk to the lake and go fishing.
Now people are scared to let their kids walk down the street.
I mean, even nowadays, my mom's or my Yeah, my mom's like housing development is like the safest place on earth. Like it's all old people, and it's in the middle of fucking nowhere, and it's right next to the lake.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So, I mean, like Ollie's actually going over there tomorrow because she's gonna hang out with him. But like he gets on his little like Power Wheels and just drives around the neighborhood. Like, and I have no issue with it at all. Like, there's a 0% chance that it's gonna happen. No, like more likely he would just get fucking lost.
Yeah, that could definitely happen.
Like, if you're not paying attention to him, like, as far as, like, unsafe is, like, not at all. Like, we were in...
Yeah, but that's not very... so you're talking about, like, one spot. That's not what it is in most other areas.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, like that's what I grew up in, is just, like, secluded, gated community.
But even back then, though, without the secluded or gated... It definitely felt, and I don't even think it was safer, but it felt safer just because you didn't have like an immediate alert anytime anything was to happen anywhere around the country that just threw fear into you of like, hey, these people went missing and these people got kidnapped. This person got convicted of murdering all these people.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, when we were growing up, stuff like that was happening.
Oh, that's what I just said.
But people are less connected than they are now.
Yeah, we're less connected, yes.
Right. People are less...
Because you had no idea.
Right.
Yeah, you were less informed. You didn't
like, unless you watched the news, you'd never know anything
And some of the news didn't pick up every single thing. Now we have literally thousands upon thousands of news sources.
Right.
There's
well, then
tons
you have
of websites,
then you have
TikTok.
people that will see things on their daily life and post it,
yes.
and then it goes instantly viral.
Yep.
That becomes the news.
Yes. Which before it just didn't. Everybody just went about their lives.
Or they would tell you like 3 days later.
Yeah.
Oh, I was driving down by the post office.
Saw this guy murder somebody.
Yeah. See, mine's realistic. Yours is just.
Hey, you know,
I was just driving down the road. This guy killed another guy. Like, hey, no.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
In Maine, that would make the news.
That's probably would make the news. You're probably right.
I think Maine has a total of like 20 murders a year. Because we capped it out.
We
last
capped
week.
it out?
Yeah, like that.
I mean, we hit that cap so more people could die?
No, I mean... Yeah.
Are you talking about Lewiston?
Yeah, the Lewiston. Okay. That was, like, that met the most amount of... for the year or whatever.
Of just death or gun death?
Murder.
Okay.
I think just murder in general. I think Maine has, like, an average of, like, 30 murders a year.
Let's see.
For a state, that's pretty good.
Are we're talking about homicides then?
Homicides,
I would guess? Yeah. 29 is what we had in 2022.
Yeah.
15 of them domestic.
That's
so it means there's
common,
only 14 like murders that weren't domestic. Just out and about.
Yeah, but a lot of murders in general are domestic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that.
Like, I mean, all the ones that you see, like national news, like the guy in Texas that kills his whole family, like that's domestic murder. We just don't have a lot. We don't have a lot of people that are like that. Like, you don't see like.
Well, part of it we don't have the population.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. We have like what 1.2, 1.4 million people here, and some places have that in a fucking city.
1.3, yeah, something like that.
So it kind of makes sense that we don't have it, and I'm glad that we don't have it. I mean, it should be less. Like, seeing that there's been 29 still seems like too high. Like why are we just murdering people?
Think about percentage per capita though.
Oh, sure.
So fucking low. But
percentage per population, it's still higher than I'd want it to be.
I mean, it's above 0.
Exactly.
Right. Like any murder above 0
bad,
is too
Mike.
high.
Are you trying to argue against this?
15, that's tolerable. That's so fucked.
So let's think of now with your kiddos, like toys wise. If you're buying them stuff, are you thinking of stuff that you think is cool? That you're like, oh, they'd like that because I'd like that.
Absolutely. 100%
Oh, you didn't like your toy? I'll take it. It's not a big deal.
He got the Micro Machines Millennium Falcon and Slave One Boba Fett Starship for his birthday, and it was so fucking cool. I played with him a lot. Now he's gonna... My problem with Maboyo though is like he is so rough on his toys. There is a 0% chance that any of his toys make it through a year. He destroys them, like just absolutely smashes the shit out of them.
Well, he's a boy.
That's what everyone says, but I feel like I was never that rough on my toys. Like I still remember
breaking a toy and being told, "Well, sucks to be you. Now you don't have your toy because you broke it."
Yeah, see, like
I don't feel like that's a thing now.
We tell him that,
but
and he
do
does
you
not
adhere to it?
I throw him away.
Yeah, but do you then replace it with other toys?
I don't. He gets toys from other places.
Is that like throwing your wife underneath the bus here? Is that what we're doing?
I mean, sometimes you just gotta bribe them. Like, hey man, if you're good, we'll get you a toy. Just like, please, for the fucking love of God,
bribery will get you.
Give
everywhere.
me a day off.
It's so funny. So I'm looking at these like 2020 toy trends, and half of them are electronics. Like
for sure. I mean, everything's got a chip in it now.
Yeah, and then the other half, or
if Elon had his way, people would have chips in them.
I mean, they'd probably make things easier.
Maybe.
The other half seem to be all nostalgia stuff that I'm seeing that are just like coming back. Or it's an old property that was out a long time ago that's now been revived, like Star Wars, and you think of Mandalorian and all the like merchandise that has come out for that with like Baby Yoda. So you have something that came out in the 70s, right? Is that when the first movie came out? Was in the 70s?
73, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you have the fact that it came back to resurgence with The Mandalorian and the other TV shows and the movies, whether you like them or not. It brought them back into prominence. So then they start cranking out those toys again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every movie at a certain point will make toys. Like, Hasbro just like has a monopoly on that.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely do.
Like, Avatar was a huge movie. It was like okay, like visually was fine. There's Avatar
visually
toys.
It was fine.
See, that's the thing. Everyone like loves it. It just looks so good. Like
it does. There's people that brought a lawsuit against the studio because of how good that movie looked. That then when they went back to their normal lives, they got depressed. Because the real world doesn't look like that.
Yeah, but I mean, people will sue you over a ham sandwich.
That's true, but what did you do to that ham sandwich?
Right. It's ham. I don't know. Anyway, like there's like toys of like things like that. There's Spawn toys. Spawn was a cool movie, but like...
Well, it's comic, but then into a movie.
Yeah, but a lot of the Spawn toys are from the movie.
Are they?
Yeah.
I figured there was toys before that. Like based on the comic, similar like Spider-Man. There was
when
toys
the movie
of that.
came out, I remember specifically like you could get these Spawn toys because my stepbrother had Spawn toys. He had like the clown and like the demon thing with the detachable jaw.
Okay, yeah.
From the movie.
All right. So, are there any other toys that we haven't talked about that you can think of? Either ones that are current, that are like
action
very
figures.
Prominent. Did you play with action figures when you were a kid?
I had X-Men action figures. And they were cool. I had Wolverine. I had Cyclops, and you pressed a button on his back, and his little visor lit up.
Yeah.
I had the Professor Xavier with the hover chair. I had the X-Jet set that opened all up.
Can you guess what action figures I had?
Wrestling.
Yes.
Shock.
As accurate.
Did you wrestle with them?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Throw them down the stairs and stuff?
I never threw them down the stairs.
No?
But I did like suplex off of like a chair or off.
Oh man, Professor Xavier sent some bad boys down the stairs with his mind.
We also used to like put on matches because again, as a kid,
you had the arena.
No. I mean like as people, like me and my buddy Anthony, my buddy Jared, my buddy Josh. Fuck, there was somebody, Matt, too.
Like you
put
guys
on
would
matches.
Wrestle yourself?
Yes, like we
It's
would.
not toys.
We would choreograph. We were just talking about what we were doing, so I'm bringing it up. We would choreograph matches.
I had no doubt in my mind that you were a wrestling kid.
Maybe there were clothes, maybe there weren't clothes.
Yikes.
That's neither here nor there.
I don't want to know.
But no, like Anthony and I put together like a 30-minute match at one point, like where we knew exactly. Yeah, choreographed everything.
Did you film it?
No, didn't film it. It wasn't. I didn't even know if there
Days
were
before TikTok
cameras back then. Like, or if there were like thousands of dollars.
Oh man, you get the Handycam, Sony Handycam.
We didn't have the Sony Handycam.
Yeah, they're expensive. They're like, even at that time, they're like $500.
We just put it on for like some friends of ours that were living at the same place that we were living at.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see there's all those fucking warnings ahead of all things now that tell you don't try this at home. And then most people, it just seems like don't really interact like that anymore. Like there's not I used to love going over and sitting at a friend's house or people coming over to my house and playing video games like on the same couch. So you're able to shoot the shit while you're doing it. Now, don't get me wrong. I love like you, me, and Corey playing Remnant all at our own houses, so I don't have to deal with you two if I don't want to. I get my own fucking TV that's 70 inches.
The convenience of the internet has broken society.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Like, how do you take something that's bringing you so close together, yet pushing you so far apart?
I mean, on the different side of that, you get more human interaction when you might not normally. Because, like, how often do you have
It's not
people
fully human interaction, though. It's a conversation.
Right,
like
that's interaction.
This is an interaction. Going to the store and seeing somebody you know and being forced to have a conversation with them is an interaction.
If I talk to you on the phone, I'm interacting with you.
I don't consider that an interaction. I consider that a conversation.
All right. Well, what does Google say what interaction
means?
Go
ahead.
Let's do it.
Because I assume that means you have to interact with hands and touching.
That's not interacting.
I mean, I actually have a thing right here. Interaction. Communication or direct involvement with someone or something. So I consider direct involvement. You consider communication.
Communication or...
Right. So I consider it more the direct thing. You consider it more the communication thing. But I consider an interaction being like, I go to work 2 days a week in the office. If I'm not in the office, I'm at my house working. But on those other days where I have to have meetings, I don't consider those interactions with people. I consider me having conversations with them, talking about work. But when I'm actually at the office...
you're interacting with them. Anything that you have that you influence in the world, you're interacting with.
So if I'm driving down the road and I'm just screaming at someone because they don't know how to drive, I'm interacting with them?
Yeah. If it changes their pattern of behavior... It's
not going to change them at all.
If you went on the radio and said something absolutely obscene, like there's a bomb somewhere, and you clear out a building, you've now interacted with all of those fucking people. Because you have changed their life drastically.
But if I went on the radio and didn't say that, am I still interacting with the radio host?
Yeah, maybe there's some lady out there that's like, that voice sounds like the kind of guy I want. And you've changed their life forever.
Changed the life forever.
Yeah,
all right.
That's interacting.
I consider, like, when you're in person to be, like, real interactions then. We'll call it real interactions.
So, meaningful interaction.
Sure.
That's different.
But we've got basically rid of that because of online stuff.
It's convenience.
I agree. It's super fucking convenient. And the fact that, like, we can, like, hey, what time are you free?
But the flip side of that is like, how easy is it for you to flip on your Xbox and find somebody that you can game with versus when you were a kid, like, convincing your parents to have people over? Like, that happened, like, maybe once a month. You have, like, 5 people over?
Daily. Really? Again, we lived in a complex,
that's true.
Everybody was there. We just
it was like 20 miles to my closest friend's house.
Oh God, no! My closest friend was literally 4 doors down.
I didn't even live in the same town that I went to school in.
I don't know. My school was right across the street.
My elementary school was like 15 minutes in one direction. My high school was 15 minutes in the opposite direction.
Yeah, you definitely lived out rural, huh?
Yeah, dude.
No, so like for mine was obviously a little bit different because we were all there. Like we used to all have movie nights. We had wrestling events, but when there were pay-per-views on, everybody would like get to one person's house and we'd all watch the wrestling event from 8 to 11. So like that's what we did, and video games too. Like I used to spend the night at my buddy's house and we'd play games until 6 a.m. when we got yelled at for still being awake at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So for me, like those are memories that people aren't going to have, like as they keep growing up. They're going to have memories of sitting on their own couch, potentially gaming till 6 a.m. with their buddy who's either one house down or 7 states over. And that part's cool, but there's something about being in the same room with everybody and shooting the shit and getting the camaraderie with that. And I feel like that's how you build more of a friendship too, rather than just being just all verbal. You're not getting only verbal. You're also getting nonverbal cues. You're also being able to go do stuff together.
I mean, I feel like that's the difference between like people that are like non-sociable versus people that are sociable. Like I know
I hate being social except for with friends.
Right, so then you're social, right? Like you can make friends though. I wasn't friends with you 3 years ago.
Simpler times.
Well, better times for me, but anyway. But again, like there's people that like cannot leave their house.
Sure.
Like have no social interactions whatsoever. And then you have people that are over the top social interactions, like some other people that we know.
So mine, I feel like I'm kind of in the middle, where I don't really want to, but I can make myself. Like going to your house, I think for the first time for your birthday party, I think it was. I forced myself to go because Corey asked me to go and because I kind of knew you, but not really. And it was only after that party then you and I started talking about like UFC shit, and I realized we had a bunch of other shit in common, and that okay, you're fine. I didn't know who you were before. Just you were a friend of.
That's right. That's right.
You were
10
a friend.
Out of 10.
You were a friend of Corey, so it's weird to be like.
I don't think that's a good accolade to have. Well, he's a friend of Corey's. So.
Well, fair, but if you have somebody and they're like, "Hey, I'm going over here. It's my buddy's house." He's kind of nerdy too, and then you meet you. I go, I don't really see the nerd. Then I start talking to you, and I was like, "Oh yeah, huge nerd."
Yeah, I hide it well.
You do hide it well for someone who has never talked to you. As soon as somebody talks to you, they're like, "That's a nerd."
Yeah. Got him.
But then from there, that's when our friendship grew. But if you don't have that, like if you're just staying at home on your Xbox, on your PlayStation, just talking to people, sure, you can be forced into situations if you're in like a Call of Duty lobby where you're going to see a bunch of other people and you might game with them multiple times.
I feel like Call of Duty has single-handedly made people internet bullies.
It wasn't just Call of Duty. Like, there's tons of other ones.
There are so many people that, like, on the phone or online will just be, like, the biggest assholes, but they would not say that to your face.
It was way before that. Chat rooms was the biggest one, because if you were in a chat room, you didn't have to put your real name. You didn't have to do any of that stuff. So we're talking about late 90s, early 2000s. What?
I never did chat rooms.
So I didn't really do chat rooms, but I know my mom... some of my best friends' moms all loved chat rooms to talk to other people and all that stuff. But people would say some terrible things. The only thing I had was
Instant Messenger.
I remember Instant Messenger, Yahoo's Instant Messenger, AOL's Instant Messenger.
Yeah, I had AIM.
Yeah, AIM. The MSN had its own messenger.
My mom used to get pissed because you had to be online, which means you couldn't call in the
and
house.
If somebody called, it would disconnect you.
Mine didn't disconnect.
Oh, it didn't?
You just couldn't get through.
Oh, yeah. So, sometimes it gives you the busy signal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's lines being used.
Yeah, lines still busy.
That terrible fucking sound when you're trying to connect to the internet, too. Yeah. Oh, my God. That felt intentional. You know they didn't have to do that shit. Like, they could have made some other sound.
I don't know why modems need to make sound to begin with.
I don't know.
What part of the modem is making the sound?
Well, if you go back to like the original video games, they use the sounds that were already basically coming from some of the shit to make the sounds in the game. So it wasn't, some of them was obviously as the games progressed, they put in all different types of sounds, but the initial ones were sounds that they just could make without actually doing anything because the system was already making those sounds. So like the Pong sound. It's just sounds the system was already making, and they just amplified it. That's just what they did. So but that's my point. As we got further into the future, they were able to do other things and make different sounds for tons of different things. But for dial-up, they were like, no. Let's just have the most annoying sound in the world.
It still blows my mind that, like, your cell phone has more computing power than, like, all of the computers in the high school that you graduated at.
It has more computer power than the fucking what we sent to the moon.
Well, a floppy disk has more computing power than what we sent to the moon.
I don't know if a floppy disk does.
144 megabytes. Look it up.
That's what a floppy disk has?
That's a floppy disk, yeah.
That sounds high.
144 megabytes.
Yeah, for a floppy disk
space
size. 2.8 megabytes. That's all it was.
I think you can get bigger ones.
I mean, nowadays, but when they came out in 1971.
Oh, not that. Are you sure you're not looking at hard disks, 1971? Because there's a hard disk was the one that was floppy, and the floppy was the one which was hard, which is weird.
I said floppy disk size.
The little ones.
Yeah.
How much is it?
It says 800 kilobytes to 2.8 megabytes.
Okay, so let's say 2.8 megabytes, which is still a bit. Now look up the computer onboard computer RAM or whatever of the Apollo 11. I still think it's less than a floppy disk.
The shuttle itself had an AP101 computers. They were derived from the IBM
That's the
360 architect with a 32-bit register.
Look up the Apollo module.
Apollo module?
Yeah. Computing power of the Apollo spacecraft.
It doesn't give me the exact number there. Hang on.
I want to say it's less than a floppy disk, if my memory serves, which is nuts. Especially if now that I know it's only like 2.
The Apollo had a RAM of 4 kilobytes and a 32 kilobyte hard disk.
Yeah, 32 kilobytes. KB.
That's so small.
Yeah. You couldn't put a thumbnail picture on that.
The Apollo 11 was landed on the moon using a computer that had 1,300 times less processing power than the iPhone 5. Let alone what we have now.
Right.
That's so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So fucking crazy.
It has less space than a floppy disk.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's wrap this bitch up. Final thoughts on toys in general.
I fucking love them. I love toys. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up? Is that where you use the toys? With the thumbs up? No? All right.
Some toys.
There you go.
The older you get, the stranger your toys get.
Everything can be a sex toy. It's just location, location, location.
Yikes. Legos would be sketchy.
A little bit. Yeah, toys are great. We're definitely...
Pogs.
I'm glad that we talked about it, that we're both children with access to adult money. Because that's literally all we'll be. We'll be in our fucking 80s if we make it to 80 and still be like children.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
The toys will just get cooler.
Or they're just going to... No.
Dude, the remote control cars now are lit.
Sure, but
They're
I want you to
so
think
cool.
that when we're in our 80s, it'll be like your kids that are going to be having toys, right? Like that'll be their generation growing up.
Grandchildren.
Okay, so it's going to be like the generation... The one below us, it'll be their... Or the one below us or 2 below us, it'll be their nostalgia. Or whatever toys were... Or maybe not. Like ours, it is... We have nostalgia going right now, so all these toys that are out, we want to buy because they're toys that we had either when we were a kid or what we wanted as a kid. I wonder in like 40 years, what's going to be the hot thing? Is it still going to be a nostalgia trip just for...
Oh, it's going to be like 3D stuff, like VR everything.
I mean, VR is already starting to be out there, but yeah, it could be bigger and bigger as they keep improving it. Because I do think, like, if I look at the first VR and then I look at, like, the Nintendo or the Atari and just see how far the Atari has come to the PlayStation compared to the VR.
So I also think that the way that technology is progressing, by the time we are as old as our grandparents are, there is going to be programmable matter.
I mean, it's hard to disagree with any of that just because of how far we've come in so little time.
Right.
That it's very possible.
There is a term for it where your computing power doubles every so often.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the term is, but if you parabolically look over the next 40 years what technology will go to,
we'll have no idea. It wouldn't
surprise me if we have programmable matter. So like you can like, oh, what toy do you want? You type it into your computer and it just makes it for you.
I mean, you could do that kind of now a little bit.
A 3D printer?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like think about that on a molecular level.
Sure.
Like you want to play with the exact replica of a Game Boy from 1992.
Yeah.
You type it in. It comes with batteries and everything. It's all made for you molecularly. And then when you're all done with it, you recycle it.
So I'll say, think of 40 years ago. It was 1983.
Yeah.
And there was no
cell
phones. There were no flat screen TVs.
No carburetor or no fuel injected, for the most part, cars.
Video games basically weren't a thing. Like
there were towers.
Yeah, but not what they are now,
right.
Obviously.
A computer took up a whole room.
Yeah, or multiple rooms.
Yeah.
And look at cars, look at travel, air travel.
So from 1980 to 2000 wasn't the technological boom. What you need to look at is what the last 10 years have brought.
Sure.
Like, look at the technological...
I'm just thinking about when we were kids. So
right.
In the 80s, we were children, like babies. Mostly grew up in the 90s, and you saw that changeover when you're a kid, seeing all the technology. Then getting into the 2010s, or the 2000s, when you graduate high school, 2010s as you start to become an adult. Now we're in the 20s, when we're in our 30s, and the amount of shit that's changed. Like, if you went back to us when we were a kid and start talking about like all these things that were going to change, you wouldn't believe us.
Right.
And so I can't even fathom 40 years from now, if somebody came back in time and was like, all this shit's going to happen, I wouldn't blink. I'd be like, probably. Yeah.
Programmable matter and matter synthesizers as far as like food, like replicators.
Yeah.
Like once you map the way that you can build molecules at a molecular level and 3D print them almost instantaneously, you've cured world hunger, period. I mean, like, you change so many things with that, and it wouldn't surprise me that would be a very big push in the next 40 years.
Yeah.
So, like, toys would be sweet because you're just like, I want to buy a Lego set. You buy the patent of it online.
Yeah.
You spend whatever it is, $50 for the patent. You download it to your replicator. You press a button, and it makes it as a kit, and then you build it.
To be fair, you wouldn't be buying the patent. You'd be buying a subscription every month to allow those Legos to still exist.
I think it'd be the same thing as, like, Xbox. Like, when you buy a game, it saves to the cloud.
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing as, like, that.
Maybe, but I feel like if you're going to use it multiple times... Like, you could, like, let's say you're going to create Legos and...
What's what I'm saying? Like, there'd have to be a way to recycle your toys when you're done with it. You recycle it into the machine, like the matter. And then it's like, okay, well, you've recycled. Well, then
if you wanted to use Legos again...
Yeah.
Would you have to pay for it again?
No, because you'd already have recycled the thing.
I know, but that just feels like then they're wasting money unless they charge you a subscription.
But again, like, you should be able to make... I'm assuming that you'd probably have to pay... The subscription you'd have to pay for would be for matter.
Well, sure, yes.
Like
matter,
a 3D
and
printer.
then
like, you'd have to pay for the plastic.
It's like right now, we pay for internet, but then if you want to watch certain streaming stuff, you have to pay for each one individually.
Well, true, but like, you're not getting something out of it, like a game. Like, if you pay for Legos, you pay for like one specific set, and then you can just play with that set infinite amount of time.
Sure, but if you wanted a different set, then you got to get a new, you have to pay more.
Yeah, same thing as now, except they just don't ship the sets to you.
Sure. Look, we're already come up with billion-dollar ideas.
Oh, that would be a fucking $1 trillion. If we knew how to do programmable
Dude,
matter,
we don't know how to do anything.
If we knew how to do that, we would be fucking trillionaires.
All right, so next week we're gonna go see the Marvels this weekend. So hopefully we're gonna be doing the podcast, the Marvels next week with the whole crew, potentially Casey as well. We might also try. I'm gonna hopefully try to make us all do a double episode next week because then the week after I'm not here. So yeah, so hopefully Marvel's next week, and then the week after should be the Loki season 2, which I think just ended today.
I haven't seen it yet.
Either have I. It's aired at 6 p.m. I think. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, we'll be back next week for the Marvels.